I'd say a good 15% of that song is about his big black truck.
Yeah. Well,
he refers to it a number of times.
If you have a big truck, you want to sing about it.
Yeah. I mean, because you spend a lot of money at the pump, so you want to make sure that you're showcasing that you have this.
Is there another song that's called "A Lot of Money at the Pump"? Because
No,
that sounds like it could be a song.
I know,
right?
If nothing else, a country
Yeah,
song.
by like Nate Dogg.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nate Dogg.
Now that would have been a collab I'd love, Montel Jordan and Nate Dogg.
Oh, that would have been great.
That would have given us a lot of money at the pump.
Didn't Hammer make a Pump in the Bump song or something like that?
That was MC Hammer, Pumps in a Bump, I think.
Yeah,
Pumps in a
there we
Bump.
go. All comes full circle somehow.
Well, he
And
also
he's
had-
wearing like a bright neon Speedo in the video. And
No
it
wonder
is,
he
it is
found Jesus.
graphic.
It's like the Borat.
Yes.
Yeah. I bought I had an MC Hammer tape when I was younger.
Yep.
But when my mom saw that one of the tracks was called "Soft and Wet," she was like, "Nope."
That's the end of that.
Took it away from me. Took away my MC Hammer tape.
Same guy who has a song about praying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
Yeah. Might have been on the same record too.
We got to pray just to make it today.
Well, we're back, clearly. Thanks for coming back when we get back, everybody.
I don't know why Brian was so excited for this.
I don't either. I honestly don't either. Well,
actually
he's a
kind of
big MC Hammer fan,
anticlimactic.
Yeah,
so he was very excited about that. Because that bit of rabble we had planned for last week. But
So good.
Anywho.
so good. Anywho, now that we're talking about things that we're super on board for, what we want to talk about today is things that we're f***ing sick of.
Negativity.
Yes. We want to talk about like stuff that's happening in movies, trends that we're seeing in movies that, man, it's just stuck in my craw. You know? a lot of inner old man on a porch gonna come out, I think, in this one. So we'll just take turns doing that. Dave, you're up first because you're way over there.
All right, I gotta say.
What's grinding your gears?
What's getting
Dave?
your goat?
What's twisting your monopod?
You know
What's got your panties in a bunch?
You know what really gives me the red ass? So the thing that really pisses me off recently is the fact that everything has to be a f***ing expanded universe.
Really?
I'm sick of it. Okay, no, I get it.
You of all
I know,
people.
I know.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that, and I'm gonna let
It
you
is
finish.
surprising.
I get it. Okay, but listen, Marvel, DC, totally on board. That's the way the universe has always been. But like Transformers does not need to be an expanded universe. Ghostbusters certainly doesn't need to be an expanded universe. This idea that like, well, it worked for Marvel, but the whole thing is the history of Marvel, it's always been like that. Ever since the 60s,
It's comic
they were
books.
always combining these guys. And so they set that forward. But now it's like, oh no, it's how you make money now. Let's like make everything this weird expanded universe. And I'm not all on board.
Well, it's like a franchise without a real franchise.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like calling something cereal, but then you have like grape nuts and like frosted. They're not the same thing, but they're all cereal.
That's true.
Like,
I don't think I understand that analogy.
I don't
but
know.
Well, it's
also
like Marvel.
agree.
You
Here's
have
the
like
thing, like-
Ant-Man and like the Avengers and everything. It's like those are all movies, but they're not technically like a franchise. It's not like Grape Nuts. The better example is
you want
it's not like
Grape
Captain Crunch. It's not like Captain Crunch without Crunchberries. Oops, all Crunchberries. Like there's a story being told in the Captain Crunch.
So what you're trying to say is that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is unto itself a whole bunch of sequels in a way, because it's all telling a linear story.
I'm saying it's not.
Does that and does that?
Well,
grind
actually,
your
no.
gears?
Marvel kind of is.
Marvel's totally.
Yeah. But if you look at like anybody else who's trying to develop that out, it's like they're not making sort of sequels to each other. It's like, oh, here's a whole bunch of in the same place.
So it's like I reserve the right to have Dr. Venkman show up in this other Ghostbusters universe movie. Not okay with that.
well, yeah, because I think like I think with comic books, once again, I think it makes sense because there's a sense that they're all going to get together and there's this kind of presence that makes sense. But I don't think anybody would have ever considered this had it not already worked out well for Marvel. I think that's the main thing. It's just sort of like that cart before the horse thing where they're like, this is the way we got to do it, guys. We can have all these different franchises and then bring them all together just because it worked once.
Yeah, some things should just be like Captain Crunch brands.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
Just like
Fast and the
Captain
Furious.
Yeah,
Fast and the Furious
you
is
want
like
to crunchitize more movies?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm just going with it. Because he's a great movie.
Look,
so like,
you
yeah.
haven't said anything that's incorrect yet.
yeah,
I don't know what you
but
mean.
I can't follow it.
Because you're right.
No, because those
It
are
is
all
a
like
type
sequels of
Captain
cereals.
Crunch.
Those are all like under the Captain Crunch brand. They all belong there. It's all tied together.
So if you like Captain Crunch, Like when they did all the berry flavors instead of the
oops all berries.
Is that what they called
Yeah,
it?
it's called oops all berries. They're acknowledging a mistake.
Which more power to them.
It's like oops all Tokyo Drift.
Yeah. So is Star Wars okay? They're doing other
No,
movies
I don't like
in
Star Wars either, man. No, I don't like this idea of like. First off, I'm not on board for a Star Wars movie without Jedi. Like, I'm sure Sith will show up on this I don't know.
Look, it's not
I have
Mission
no
Impossible.
idea.
It's Rogue
yeah,
One.
Rogue One. Yeah,
It's Rogue
exactly.
One.
Yeah, Rogue One. I feel like I don't care. I don't care about this like thing. I mean, listen. No, I'm not okay with it. Okay?
You haven't added
Make
to it yet.
Star
You said
Wars
no
movies.
several times,
Yes.
and you.
I'm okay with making Star Wars movies. You can make as many sequels as you want, but I don't think it's necessary to have all these other characters, especially like some are probably going to be in the past, and it's just going to be. So what's even the point of like doing a Han Solo movie?
Right, but I mean, there's such a huge expanded universe presence that has
know.
been successful for a long time.
I know. I think this is the problem. It's like it's not that they're like we came up with this great idea to make this one movie we're gonna make and see what happens. It's like guess what? We're gonna make 15 other movies along with this franchise because we're gonna make $1 billion every movie. That's my problem. It's this idea of like. We got to come up with like 15 other movies. Like I hate it because it's just a way to make money instead of this was inspired. We did this because we wanted to try it.
Because I was actually legitimately mildly excited, I think is as far as I'm willing to go, about the Universal Monster movie.
Yeah.
That made sense to me.
I am like, see, the problem is, it's not that it's like a watershed for me. I think in a few times it's okay. Like, for instance, for the Universal movies, they have a precedent of like Wolfman and Dracula
Right.
fighting in those old movies.
And Van Helsing goes and hunts all of them, so.
And Abbott
Yeah.
and Costello are there.
Exactly. So,
The Harlem
I'll give it a
Globetrotters,
try.
I'm sure.
For instance, I can't imagine any Transformer they're going to base a movie off of other than Optimus Prime. Like, I guess, like, Rodimus? I don't know. Like, who are they
I
going
gotta
to
tell
base
you,
it
I'm
on?
kind of sick of Optimus Prime.
That's the thing. But
He's just kind of a boring dude.
I know, but what?
Preachy.
Bumblebee? What, are they going to give him, like gonna let him talk finally or something? Because he only talks through, like, annoying, like, sound bites and stuff, right?
That makes him like handicapped in the Transformers universe.
Totally. Yeah.
No, because like all the other Transformers can talk, and he's a mute.
Yeah.
I wonder what happened to him. All right, T.
Okay.
Twisting
so,
your bolts. What's
grinding my gears.
shapping? Well, you already used the red ass thing. Makes your ass red? Is that what you?
Well, really gives me the red ass.
The red ass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what's also giving me red ass? It's a little similar to Lacey's, but it's just the complete laziness and utter failure of imagination on studios' parts to take a chance on new ideas. It seems like every movie is a reboot, a remake, a reimagining, and it's just they're banking on these ideas and concepts and properties that we already know and that we already like and that we remember. They're like, oh, remember that? You already like that. Here's another one. Yeah. And it's just, can I see a new movie? I mean, like it seems like even with the reimaginings and remakes that they're doing, they're not taking any chances within that. I cite Jurassic World as an example, where it was like, they had so many opportunities to make that really cool, and that ended up being a complete like paint by numbers movie. Like it felt like something from the 50s. It didn't even feel like something from 5 years ago. It felt like something from 50 years ago.
Oh, except for all those CGI dinosaurs.
Well, I mean, in terms of the characters and like the
They
actual
had those in
beats
the
of the
50s, but they
story.
couldn't show them because of the Russians.
But like all the character and story beats, it's just like, that might as well have been like Katharine Hepburn or something. You know what I mean? It was just so lame.
It was a woman that wanted a baby. And then we didn't talk about that anymore, nor did it become relevant to the plot in any way. It's just like, well, you're a single woman of age. You should be sad you don't have a baby.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was
I mean,
a little
she's
weird.
literally running in heels.
They did mention that.
Yeah.
To be fair, they did point that out, and it's pretty ridiculous.
And that's another trend that's grinding my gears, though, is studios feeling like they can get away with bull if they like acknowledge it.
If
It's just like, oh, I know this is dumb, but we're
Yeah.
gonna do it anyway. Like, you, do something else.
Jurassic World did that with the product placement. How they were like saying how horrible and stupid product placement
And how
is.
silly the name was. And,
But at the same time, every time Bryce Dallas Howard and Star-Lord got out of her freaking BMW, there's this dolly shot that looks like a damn freaking Mercedes or BMW commercial.
Yeah, I think it was Mercedes.
Yeah, Mercedes, yeah. And then at the Samsung thing, it's like they were like making fun of it, but they were still
But
doing
you're
it.
doing it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So you get some sort of bonus points for it's like we're not going to take away your street cred. So wait, which one you threw two of them out there? Which one do we need
Well,
to
yeah, I
elaborate
mean, one was a bit spontaneous because I didn't even think of that one in advance. But yeah, I think maybe the second one is a little bit more different from Lacey's, so we could talk
the
about
product
that
placement one?
Not just product placement, but doing shitty things in movies and feeling like you can get away with it because you are self-aware about it
Well, I think a lot
as
of
a
that,
director or a studio or a writer.
Right. A lot of that too. I feel like some of the, in comedy in particular, some of the movies that have become have done really well have been meta.
Yes.
Some more than others, like the Jump Street movies, the Lego movie. Everything has gotten to the point where it's like we can be self-reflective. It's like the movies that are meta have been successful, so that's like allowed to do now. Like, oh, that movie made money, so now I can be meta with this. Or now, oh yeah, we'll just make a joke about how stupid the Indominus Rex sounds.
Right.
And then it'll be fine.
I mean, I read a really interesting article about how culture has changed and how we're creating for a consumer culture now instead of like a creative culture. Instead of to create, we're creating to reference.
You can see that.
And you see that in like TV, and I think that's probably the rise of like meta narrative in film and in television.
And I think to touch on your other point too, because everything is so full of references to pop culture references, like it speaks to this kind of fear of not doing your own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too, which speaks to your first gripe.
Right, but that's true. I mean, that sort of speaks to the larger idea that you were talking about, where we're in a culture now where like the things you like are essentially who you are, at least like in terms of creating your Instagram profile or whatever. So I think
I like this picture, so it is now my avatar.
right, and this tells you who I am.
Right. This is about the level of old man rage that I expected.
When you said you wanted old man rage, I was just
did.
like, well, I guess I should stick around for
There's
this.
an email to prove it. Team, you need to stick around. I need old man rocking chair.
I am the resident
fist
old
shaking.
man.
So my thing, I am really sick of how ridiculously on the nose exposition is getting.
Yeah.
Because,
Example.
We'll stick with Jurassic World.
Okay.
In Jurassic World, we know all kinds of stuff about like the kids and their parents are getting divorced. We have to have this conversation between Bryce Dallas Howard and her sister about how like, oh, you're gonna have a family, I promise. And it's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean anything to the story, but somehow somebody has decided that informs the character to the
Right.
point that is like, we need to leave that in the movie, even
And
though it
it's
takes
supposed
us
to make us
away from
care
the
about
island
them.
and the dinosaurs, and we're supposed to like care. Because like, if you look at the original Jurassic Park, Dr. Grant is dusting off the bones, and he's like, that kid's annoying. And then he explains information to the kid that is useful later when we meet the raptors for the first. So it's like, and it's all character development, and it all moves plot, and we're done with it.
Yeah.
Like that, you know? He touches the computers, like, oh, I know who that guy is. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like computers, like, I know him.
It's interesting that you say you're sick of seeing that happen lately, but I feel like this is sort of going backwards. Like, this is what movies used to be like when they would sort of be like very straightforward about like, here's what this character wants and here's why they want it. And it's almost like a very old-fashioned type of filmmaking that's reemerging in a weird way. It's like there's no more subtlety.
And I think it's particularly chapping the ass right now because it's the last two movies I've reviewed I've had the same problem with, because between San Andreas and Jurassic World, both of these movies had, in San Andreas, there's literally a scene where two people are having lunch and it's just like, here's who I am and here's my relationship to you and here's like, let's talk about that for a second before we actually do any moving the plot forward thing. And then a waitress comes up and starts to introduce herself, and I was half expecting her to be like, hello, my name is Daisy, I'll be your waitress today. I am currently a student at UCLA. Like, it stopped just short of that. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you about the specials now, and I'm like, I don't need any of this. Like,
Right.
none of this matters.
That reminds me of, I watched I, Frankenstein. I don't know why. Not too long
I
ago.
know why. I know why, because I did it too.
And they spend like 30 minutes on exposition, like without pause. Like, this is him, this is the world, these are these people, here's some gargoyle people, now they're in this area, here's this sword of like, you know, fate, and it's just like, I was just like, oh my God, like there's no dialogue that isn't like wall-to-wall exposition. The total opposite side of that is like Mad Max.
Well,
like
I
you
even
see stuff.
Mad Max, the bulk of Mad Max, absolutely. It's a great exercise in, like, I think we called it visual exposition. It's like you knew what was going on in that world just by the look and the feel of it and everything. The opening titles, like, it was just all over black, I think, and they did a whole bunch of like newsreel like snippets. And all
Yeah.
that. When that happened, I was like, oh, come on, don't do that. Like, just start the movie. Like, I'll get it. Come on,
Yeah.
I'll get it. And so it's one of those things where you can kind of feel the studio going like, look, you got to give me something.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to give me words that explain things.
Yeah, it's just this lack of faith in the audience on behalf of these studios. They just don't trust us to like understand things
Yeah.
without having it like hammered into our brains.
But at the same time,
Sad
that's totally reinforced because Jurassic World blew
Made
up.
so much money.
Yeah.
That's really, really heartbreaking though.
Yeah.
There's nothing but movies that are like, yeah, it was fun, but
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, I'm almost more offended by all these movies that are fine than movies that are either actively good or actively bad. Like, I'd rather have a movie that's like bad in a spectacularly amazing and interesting
Take
way
a swing.
Totally.
than a movie that's just,
Yeah.
ugh, I guess that was fine, which
And
is
there
what
was a-
Jurassic World
I think I've
is.
said
Yeah.
before somewhere else on the channel, maybe a long time ago, that I actually sometimes prefer watching bad movies because those are the only movies that can surprise me now.
Totally.
Because it's somebody will make such an off-the-wall choice
Yeah.
that it's like, why would you ever? Okay, let's. Here we go.
As far as entertainment value goes, I would say a bad movie ranks far higher than a fine movie.
Well, there are movies that you just forget because they're in one ear and out the other, and it's like it doesn't, you know.
Yeah,
it
I
didn't
just-
matter. None of that mattered. I don't care. I'm gone.
I just watched some Denzel Washington movie. I think it was called Out of Time because
Yeah.
it was just like a Sunday afternoon. It was on HBO Go. And to this day, I don't know if I've seen that movie before or not. Like, I may have. I was just like,
I just told you I've seen it, and I have no idea whether I've seen it or
Yeah,
not.
like, I feel like I'm not sure if I've seen that movie already or.
Is that one of those? Didn't he make like 4 movies where he just goes around killing everybody for like no apparent
It
reason
was,
whatsoever?
it was in this era. There was like a 3-year period where he was in a bunch of movies where he was just wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah,
This is one of those
Was it one of those?
Yeah,
he was
Tony
like
Scott might have directed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was Tony Scott or like Tony Scott's AD from the last one,
Yeah.
Exactly,
or
yeah.
and Denzel Washington was
He's
wearing
wearing a Hawaiian
shirt.
shirt. She's like,
And he's some type of
I feel
private
like
eye.
I've seen this before, and I have no idea if I've seen
And
this
look,
before.
and I think there's also a chance that Out of Time is the only one of those movies. It just blends together with every other movie that came out. And it's like, no, I saw there's like tons of that. But really, that was just the billboard that I saw the most. You know? So what was I complaining about? Oh, exposition.
yeah.
Yeah.
Too much.
Too much.
On
Just
the nose.
Just trust us. You know.
Well, like
They
Ex
don't.
Machina, like perfectly sort of told that story,
Yeah.
where you didn't really know a lot about the characters, and it developed throughout time, and
Yeah.
you got a full sense, and they also let you discover stuff, and that's like the right way to do it, instead of like you're right, like this is this person, these are their character traits. Now you understand them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I don't want to get into how much I've loved that movie because I've talked about it at length. But
Yeah.
that was one movie where it was almost so jarring how quickly they got me into the story that I actually had to like adjust in my
Yeah.
seat. It was
Yeah.
like,
It's like,
oh
oh, we're
wow, we're
going.
just getting
Okay.
right into this. All right, Alex Garland.
There was that like overcranked Danny Boyle-esque intro, and
Yeah.
we're in.
Yeah.
Great, cool. There's movies where you're just sitting there going like, oh, I don't need any of this.
Yeah.
You know, just drives me nuts.
And I don't care.
And frankly, I don't care. If I needed it, I'd care. All right, Julie.
All right. What really brucks my Heimer is if I see another bus or semi-truck do a f***ing forward flip, I am walking out of your movie. That is the bargain 99-cent store version of an effect at this point. It was awesome in The Dark Knight. It's trash now. I don't want to see it anymore. It physically, it doesn't make sense. You're not even doing it practically anymore. So like, why bother? Why bother?
Okay, so don't go see Terminator.
Yeah, well, that was when I was just like, I'm done.
Are you gonna go see Terminator and then leave after
that
sequence?
part?
Probably.
Yeah, that became like the whole thing with after the Matrix. There was like 10 years of like bullet time
nothing but bullet time.
sequences.
Yeah, looking at you,
People
Wing
are still
Commander.
using the Blanc. Like,
what?
People are still using the boing.
Oh yeah, especially in trailers and stuff.
Good lord.
Well, it's the stock music, the stock trailer music that comes when you buy a Mac. I think it comes with GarageBand. You get your bong, and then you're ready to go. You can start cutting trailers. Like visual cues are kind of interesting how they get passed around in that regard, and that's the one right now. Hopefully, Terminator is the last one because there was Dark Knight and then Terminator happened. There was another one that happened
There's
recently.
a few.
I remember
I
a few
just
of them,
can't
yeah.
remember.
There's just a couple that I was like, oh, Dark Knight again.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Because now you mention it, now I'm going to be even madder the next time I see that. Because that's been just kind of an eye roll for me. But now I'm going to be like, God damn it.
Can I have another one. Can I do another one?
Another gripe or
Another
another
gripe.
effect that shows up too often?
Another gripe. Unless you want to
do we have
more
any
effects?
other effects that show up too often? Because I think that's an interesting thing. It's like, and it kind of feeds back into being original and taking sort of creative chances. And it's like, oh no, you know what? People love school buses flipping over. So where is that in the script? And then like, well, I can add one, I guess. Like, yeah, go add one. And I think we're ready to go. Yeah. But anyway, I'm sure there's tons of other, like the bullet time after the Matrix was just awful.
Also, can we find some new monuments to blow up? If I have to see the Golden Gate Bridge get destroyed one more time, I'm done. Yeah. You can flip a bus over that bridge, because those both.
That's the only thing I liked about the second G.I. Joe movie is they destroy London from a satellite, and it's awesome looking.
Yeah, destroy London once in a while.
Yeah, that was great.
London really gets their Heimerbrucht.
Yeah.
You had another gripe, Dave?
I do have another gripe. This one is, it's a little less current, but it still happens. It really bothers me a lot, is when they talk about a movie that's going to come out that's based on a book or a graphic novel that has not come out yet. Like they're like, well, you know, they're writing it, it's going to come out. It's not out yet, but it's such a great idea, we're going to make the movie.
Isn't that happening with Gillian Flynn's next book, the woman that wrote Gone Girl?
I feel like it's Dark Place. I feel like that already happened. But that happened. Remember, there was that whole like Robopocalypse thing that was going to happen with Spielberg, and the book wasn't even written yet, but they already made the deal. I think that ended up falling through. Kingsman's actually something that was like this, but worked out because Mark Miller is a good writer.
Well, they developed it in tandem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We know it's going to happen. But a lot of stuff does fall through. Actually, one of the funny ones was Oblivion. I remember they were like based on the graphic novel. A few different places said a graphic novel that like I don't even know to this day if ever came out. They were planning on bringing it out, and I'm not sure it ever did.
Because the movie came out and everyone was like, yeah, and they're like, yeah, why don't release a graphic novel?
Might as well not waste the paper.
Honestly, I think
Which good for them.
It's a sales tool. I mean, that's really what it is. It's just like, well, it's just good enough. This is from a book or a comic book. This is going to be great, but like, it's never going to come out.
I think there's this idea that there's like implied credibility.
Exactly.
If it's like based on
It's
a
an
book
existing property.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at what Guillermo del Toro went through with The Strain, which like he pitched the show The Strain and everybody turned him down. And then he went and wrote and created a graphic novel, then went back and said, hey, it's a book now. Do you want it? And they're like, yeah, we'll take it now. Which is dumb. But
Can I tell you one more thing that grinds my gears?
go ahead. What we're doing here.
Anytime I see a movie coming out and it says Ehren Kruger or Damon Lindelof on it, I mean, am I right? What's going on with these guys making movies?
Should have stopped him.
I'm just saying. Just saying.
I should have let. He's already done two, and I let him do another one. I should have stopped him.
Let me do it. Yeah. That's it. That's all I got. Sorry. Everything Ehren Kruger writes is garbage. Every single thing. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Is it Skip Woods garbage?
It's. What did Skip Woods
truly can grind some gears.
I was just like, do I want to jump into Skip Woods?
Okay, well, let me give you an idea, Ehren Kruger. Scream 3 and Transformers 2, 3, and 4. Okay, if the name Ehren Kruger is on your movie, it's a terrible movie.
Well, look, if the name Ehren Kruger is on your movie, that means it's a stupidly successful franchise.
That's the problem, right? And that's what we're running into. At least Michael Bay has made some cool stuff, and he's visually good at what he does, even if he usually can't tell a story or doesn't care that he's not telling a story.
Yeah, Michael Bay came from somewhere because his early stuff, like The Rock, is
awesome. Totally, yeah.
Awesome.
Even I, frankly, I'll say Bad Boys 1 and 2 in their own way is awesome.
Right. Bad Boys 2 was the turning point for him, I think.
Yeah.
Because he went to a place.
He did.
He went to a very specific place with Bad Boys 2, and it was he was still The Rock, Michael Bay. What are you looking up?
Skip Woods.
Skip Woods.
Okay.
I thought he had written more, but apparently he hasn't. But he wrote A Good Day to Die Hard.
Oh, it's so bad.
It must have been the ultimate paycheck gig for everybody involved.
Yeah.
There's a
Except
lot
for
of
Jai Courtney, who actually kind of tried.
It did well for her, yeah.
Jai Courtney.
Speaking of things
that piss me off.
Jai Courtney.
Jai f***ing Courtney.
He's everywhere too.
Yeah.
Now he's in Suicide Squad. He's in Terminator.
I don't know how it happened.
I've turned the corner.
There can be.
Yeah,
You love Jai Courtney now.
he looks super excited to be in everything he's in,
Yeah.
and I respect that.
Yeah, I bet that's the case. He's honestly, I'm sure he's great.
Yeah.
As a
Yeah, he probably
person.
just can't believe his luck.
I bet he's like, dude, I shouldn't be here. What are you
all of the
I shouldn't be
Suicide
here, but
Squad
I'm here.
together.
Hey.
Yeah.
That picture of all of the Suicide Squad together, he just looked the most stoked
Oh, yeah.
in that
Totally.
entire
He looked
photo.
like he had just gotten away with
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
He was like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's that guy. He's that like, tall, muscle-bound dude that they
Right.
put in movies, and it's kind of a dinosaur. He doesn't have the charisma of like a Rock. He's probably not going to be like an A-list marquee. His name sells a movie, but you need that guy.
he can smolder. I'll give him that.
Yes,
kinda
he's good
works.
at being a bad guy,
Yeah.
and as a gargoyle in I, Frankenstein.
He wasn't I Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I remember like watching Netflix sent me an email just to tell me to watch I Frankenstein. And I was like, okay.
And you listen to them.
I mean, look,
If
That's
Netflix
why I
says it's
think
good.
emails should cost
If you're-
money.
if you're gonna go through the trouble of sending me an email, yeah, I'll watch it. And then the opening credits, I see Jai Courtney's name, and I'm like, all right, okay, I'll stick with it. Guys, those are our gripes. What's grinding your gears? What's twisting your bolts? What's giving you the red ass? What else do we talk about? Panties in
Something
a
about a
wad
sphincter.
or bunch?
Crinkled sphincter.
What's
Crinkled
crinkling your sphincters out there
That was my
about
favorite.
movies? Let us know in the comments down below. Click like, subscribe, come back next time for more movie news on CineFix Now. I went like this with the point.
Yeah, that's how you know.
That's how emphatic I am.
What's
Yeah, it's
impacting your bowels?
What's impacting your bowels? What's
Might be a real answer for that.
What's punching you in the dick?
what's punching your dicks?
Splitting the dick.
What's giving your foot the
Split
real
the
gap?
dick.
Really splitting my dick.